Howdy, 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 and thank you all for joining us tonight. I hope everybody's doing great and had a great Sunday. It was a real good day around here. Topped off with some great ribs that got quite a bit of good smoke time on them. They were just awesome. So very happy, very good day here. Great day with the family. And I hope you all had pretty much the same kind of day for you. Let's see who all's in here tonight. We've got Selena's here. Laura Waldy, my lead mod. Mona Englert, one half of the Twinsies. And guess what? Your other half is already in the studio. So some weirdo named Clearwater Chad. All right. Scooter Mom. What's going on, Scooter Mom? How you doing? And if you missed it the other night, did a live with Scooter Mom. I believe that was Friday. Yeah, Friday we did a live. It was a real good time. Hope you all get over there and check it out. Make sure you show some support to Scooter Mom. Anaphylaxis. Make sure Lisa Robinson. How are we doing tonight? Mischief managed. How are we doing? Oh, Mischief managed. How are we doing tonight? All right. Make sure we're not missing too many people while everybody gets in here. Joe Gerst is in the house. What's up, Joe? Mara Lee. Dusty Soda Fountain Dispenser Machine Bottle Cap. How are we doing tonight, Dusty? You better quit stalking the Monas. All right, let's see who else we got here. Man, Jim Kohler is in the house. Howdy, Jim. Cinderly. Nerman is back. How you doing, Nerman? The Journey 2020, Indigo's Insights. How are we doing tonight? All right, Desire Storm is here. Corrine C. How are we doing tonight, Corrine? Greg is in the house. Susan Everett, Nissa, Lori's here tonight. Let's see. Absolutely, Jason. How you doing, Jason? Cookie Brightwell. What's up, Cookie? And let's see, Rhonda McCowan. And make sure we're not missing too many other people. Looks like we're on top of it so far. Well, it is Sunday night. You all know how Sunday nights go around here. We start off a certain way and we bring it in the right way. So let's welcome one of my good friends and someone that has a great channel over there putting out some absolutely hilarious content. Please welcome Clearwater Chad.
Thanks, Poe. Great to be here. Good. How are you?
Good. So have you got it for us?
What's that? Oh, yeah. Sure. I should know what that means by now. Am I right?
I was like, wait a minute. What? Who is this guy?
All right. We got it. I'm sorry, Poe. I'm a little sick. I'm hoping to get better by tomorrow.
All
right. So weather in Clearwater, Buffalo is 76 degrees, 0% precip. The wind is at 6, and Roscoe advises it's 63% humid, Poe.
Well, he's been a little monster as of late. I'll tell you that. As everybody knows, he brought in the present the other night and freaked Mama right out with that one. But he's just been on tear. Anything that if a leaf falls, he's going to get it. That dog is just going crazy. Silver bullet flu. What's that, Cinderly?
Yeah, that I don't know either. I don't know what it was I had, but it was nothing good. I still feel weird. Yeah, if I don't get better by tomorrow, I'm gonna get checked out.
Yeah, psychologically.
Could be, yeah, that too. I'm overdue for that for sure.
So, all right, folks. So I know that I've talked about it before, but something happened just recently, and Scientology literally got a nice little foot up the boot there for them. They right up the butt there for them. They thought that they were owning things, and they've been told differently. So instead of me telling you about it, I figured I'd bring in one half of the pair that did this, and we'll explain it in depth and let you see how it is that, yes, you can go against Scientology. Yes, you can win. Their days of being this unstoppable force is coming to an end. And they're losing members on a daily basis. Their money's going to start drying up real soon if it hasn't already. Things are not as bright for Wavy Davy and his fake space navy as they used to be. They don't have the power they used to have. They're literally being drowned in lawsuits and criminal proceedings left and right. Tomorrow night, I'm going to be talking about the fact that even Moist Critical is bringing up the Emily Armstrong and Lincoln Park stuff. That's how big this is getting. So I wanted you to see that, yes, victories are coming, and there are many more that are ahead of us in the journey in taking down this dangerous cult that abuses everyone who crosses their door. So please welcome one of the good friends of the channel, someone that I personally look to as a confidant, however you want to say it, someone that I can openly speak to, and they're going to tell me how they feel. And I know that what they have to say isn't coming from a matter of mean, hostile, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be, this is something that we need to look into, or we should look a different way. So please welcome my friend Mona Fat Grammy. How we doing?
Hi guys, welcome. Hello. Hey, and you know what? It's 75 degrees here with 64% humidity. So we're right with you. And excuse the dog. He's going to be a dog.
Oh, that's all right. Let him be.
Hush.
We got I was really surprised. Our humidity's been kind of low down here the last few days. It's been nice. So we can
think I've got squirrels or something outside the door, and
Oh.
he thinks,
Yeah, I'm surprised. I think Roscoe's out running the yard right now, or you'd be hearing him go nuts. So that dog literally knows what delivery trucks look like. You can have a regular van pass by, you can have a regular truck pass by, you can have all different things, but you let an Amazon, FedEx, or I think it's called ADT delivery service come anywhere within eyesight, and he goes nuts. So,
yeah.
I tell you, and when you get as many Amazon packages as we do around here, oh Lord, there's a couple of them that know him. They know he doesn't bite. They know he likes to put on a good show. And the minute that they cross over that invisible fence line, he's just all love to them. But the others, they freak out because here's this little dog at, he's about, I think, 28 pounds. And he just thinks he weighs about 500 pounds. He thinks he's one of them horses you got running around your yard. So let's see here. So let's talk about what Scientology's been doing out there in LA that has been very problematic, not only for protesters, but as someone who needs ADA compliance in your ability to make your way to the sidewalk or just literally go down the sidewalk itself. So can you give us a brief history of what they've been doing and how they've been doing things out there in LA?
Sure. Back, of course, during the Easter celebration, they had closed off the street for permits. And then they had heard about the encampment or all of the homeless situations all around LA. So they decided to not only continue with the permits and have constant permits for different celebrations, quote unquote celebrations, because half the time nobody is even there. But they also, to make it to where, to inhibit the encampments and the tents, they put those planters up all along L. Ron Hubbard Way and along Fountain Avenue. They put up rose bushes along Cantina, I believe, is the other road. And that's a whole different thing. Did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. I was circling. And so the planters and the no fire lane of the obstruction of the safety lane, which every single permit on that second page, even though we can't see the second page, but every permit says that they have to keep a 20-foot fire lane, emergency response lane, open along the whole way of L. Ron Hubbard Way. And on the north and the south side, there are concrete planters that they put kind of like a zigzag barrier on the north and the south side. And I remember when Michael was arrested that night and he was injured from being tackled, he wasn't able to get into an ambulance. They couldn't get an ambulance down there. They struggled to finally do it because he insisted. There's Audit. Hey, Audit lady. He insisted that he couldn't walk because they hurt his hip. So they had a really tough time even getting just a box ambulance down there, a paramedic truck.
Yeah,
So there's no way they're getting a ladder truck down there.
that was one of the things I'd heard about. Was did they have an actual incident where they couldn't get one down through there?
Yes and no. On August 21st, there was a brush fire that was started that they are investigating. They, meaning the fire department, sent it to the police department to investigate for arson, which I'm sure they're probably trying to blame it on a protester or a demonstrator. But they did get it put out. We've FOIA'd, CPRA'd the information about it because we heard the calls from the fire station.
Right.
But we want to see if they actually did get a ladder truck down there to put it out, which there's no way they could have. So we know they didn't. They probably used a fire hose because it was just a brush fire out near the.
Well, they can believe me. We used to, in the city where I first started in law enforcement, along the railroad tracks, we had a steel mill that the trains were coming out of. They'd have those bottle cars, and they would constantly be popping off that hot molten steel off the top of them. And those brush fires, they quick, and they were a lot of fun to try to take down. That's for sure.
Oh, I'm sure. And if you can imagine, I mean, on the Catalina side is the crack from the base where the elevator is, from the base almost all the way up to the top of that building. There's a crack, and you could see that it was damaged even a little bit more after that last earthquake. And if there was a major incident, an earthquake, a fire, even if there was something happening on the other side where the apartments are, you're not getting a ladder truck. You're not getting emergency response. And the hospital's just on the other side. What if they really truly needed that route?
That's been part of the complaints that we've had. Well, starting with the fact that the entire permit wasn't available. Only the first page, and it didn't even show the whole first page, if I remember correctly. Correct. And that the LAPD was just going by, well, this is the permit, but it didn't have all the information that was needed for it, so they couldn't make an actual proper determination on it. The problem with it is that LAPD just didn't seem to care. They were just like, okay, they got a permit, deal with it. And we saw what
they were being lied to. They were definitely being lied to, and or knew better. I know Audit caught him quite a few times in that lie, and I know she's posted it. She's got her little storyline going on her community page, which is quite cute, about Jen and her men. and so that's kind of funny.
And for the folks that are watching, Audit LA, I put the link out there for her channel. She was a very big part in this as well. And she's, basically she's the person that's there on scene and with what's going on. And she's one of the people that is directly affected by what is happening out there with LA and with Scientology and how they are handling things out there. So she plays a really big part in it. I put the link in there. Make sure you get over there and check out her channel. She does some really good stuff.
Thank you. And the bird in my ear just corrected me and said, no, that police department had all 3 pages of the permit ahead of the events. So they knew they were lying.
Okay. Then LAPD used documents. They presented partial documents without showing the entire thing then.
Right. Even after, I remember Kelly, I remember Henry, I remember somebody else Confident Chris, MD Media, they've all said, show me the permits, show me the permits, show me the permits, Aja. And they never did bring the permits back to show them.
Which it's in itself is a violation because they have to post those permits, don't they? They have to be publicly visible and they have to be available at any time. So
supposed to be.
Yeah. But it's LA. They do things their own way there. So
right.
So going into that, I mean, we know we've seen we've seen the videos, we've seen the photos, we've seen the planters that are out there. We've seen when they put the webbing out to stop people from being able to access the sidewalk from the streets. They've done anything that they can. Now we have this, it seems like it's a never ending revolving permit that they've got for work on or around the Big Blue there along LRH Way, I believe it's called. And they just keep, just seems like it's a never ending permit for them there. On top of, we also have the fact that they were caught when someone went to the permit office and they were told it was $5,000 a day for an event permit, but told, hey, if you go to Scientology, you can get it for $1,000 a day and hold your permit. And so, I mean, it's showing that there's clear collusion going on here. Now that we know that the police have the full documentation, but refuse to show the full documentation, refuse to make Scientology publicly display the entire document as it's required by law. I mean, it's getting
right.
I
think LA has a little bit different, because I always thought it was they would have to have it posted for the events. I think they just have to display it upon request.
Okay.
For construction, they have to post it.
Well, I figured that anytime you have, I know like here, it's not just event permits or something like that. It's anytime that you put something like those planters that are out there, or you put that netting out there, anytime you're going to do any kind of work or any, whether it be an event or anything like that, you're going to have to shut a sidewalk or a roadway down. You have to publicly display those. So I figured it would be about the same there in California, because they seem to be a bit stricter than a lot of other states when it comes to things like that.
It is. And then they have the Film LA permits that, if they're doing movie stuff around there, did they have to have those? So there's a lot of different questions that just aren't being answered. So yeah, definitely. And with the planters, they're all on the easements, and there are no easement permits. So there's another violation. They're so close to the edge of the roadway that somebody that's trying to get out of the passenger side of a vehicle wouldn't be able to get out. They're too close together in most places along, especially Fountain, that you wouldn't be able to get on or off a ramped vehicle. So if I wanted to take a lift, an accessible van, an accessible paratransit vehicle,
Right.
then they wouldn't be able to let me on or off safely, properly on the sidewalk.
Absolutely. I mean, we've discussed that on more than one live over the fact that they not only are they denying someone their ADA rights by law, but they're also creating a situation where it could cause a real problem for public safety if neither fire trucks or ambulances or even police cars can access that roadway. And like I said, seems like it's been just a perpetual permitting that they've been allowing there with Scientology. I'm amazed that this is being allowed to go on. But, you drive around with your license plate expired 5 days, are they going to tow your car for it?
Right. And yeah, with the parking enforcement, those couple of days, that got taken care of pretty quick.
Yeah.
They meaning the Church of Scientology were having people park along those spots, especially with handicap plates, because with the handicap plates, there was no time delay. So they had people parking there that weren't supposed to be using those. I know quite a few of the issues that keeping up with it, watching, like they had a Bangladesh festival last week.
Wow.
Yeah, it was last weekend. And the permit was for the Salvadorians, not the Bangladesh. So they're
a little ways away from each other.
Yeah. Maybe they speak the same language. I don't know. I'm just being funny there, but that's not the way it works. One group is supposed to have the permit to holding it. So we've been just really tag teaming, excuse me, I'm trying to get comfortable on the biscuits.
I bet.
Tag teaming the neighborhood councils, the LAPD commission, the Board of Public Works, which oversees the Bureau of Street Services. And we've been going to those meetings, basically every meeting that they've had. Not only us, but I know Henry has been involved a few times. There's been a couple other people that have weighed in that they don't like their name mentioned, but they get on there quite a few times. And of course, we've met some quite colorful characters going to these meetings, the city council meetings and all of that, which they're all broadcast. Most of them you can weigh in telephonically or by Zoom, by the internet. So
Right.
it makes it easy for other people to weigh in.
There's a couple questions I wanted to bring up here that were brought on by Indigo Insights. First one is, as part of permits, if they have a large enough event, aren't they required to have room for ambulances to access the event?
Yes,
I thought that was part of it.
that's the 20-foot. There's supposed to be a 20-foot fire lane, an emergency response lane all the way down the road.
It's I was pretty sure that they had to, because having done events myself, I know exactly how a lot of these laws work, and you're required to not only have them on scene, but you're required to have suitable access for them. And then the next one was, if the building is damaged, are they even allowed to use the elevator shaft?
Don't know.
That would be a really good question. I mean, if they have that huge crack running right down along the elevator shaft of the building, shouldn't that put that elevator out of commission? I mean, my goodness.
Well, the thing is that they don't allow anybody inside to inspect, even
Right.
though building inspectors should do. And we've made the comments we've made. I know many people have made complaints to Public Works and to the inspection office. They had the other day, the scaffolding is all being built up out there. What are you laughing about, Poe? So
it was Miss
there's
Kim
no
and
permits posted for the scaffolding.
Miss Kim and the hiccups. Everybody was asking about if she still had the hiccups. I said, we've all been praying for you.
So the scaffolding that's being put up right now, and we've seen that they were using Sea Org people out there to do it. Well, okay, first of all, it's got to be permitted. Second of all, how do you get away with paying somebody $50 a week? There's got to be some labor issues there.
They've been skirting that for quite a long time, over the whole, are they religious volunteers, that kind of stuff. And it seems to be that little loophole that they're able to get through on that one. And I'm just, I mean, so many people screaming about it. At some point, they're going to, somebody's going to have to step up and take action on this stuff.
Well, the road, they now have a permit between now and the end of the year. I think December 22nd is the day the permit stops, to fix the sidewalks on L. Ron Hubbard Way, which is what all those concrete bags were, and to make repairs on the public road. Okay, they're not paying public and contractors to fix that road. We know that. We know they're going to have $50 a week people out there. That's not going to go over. I know we've already made the complaint. There's already been labor complaints, and I know darn well the union is going to have a fit to have volunteers out there fixing a public road.
Well, not only that, you've got to have certain certifications. You've got to, plus the equipment that's going to have to be used for it. You can't just take people out with bags of, quick set asphalt repair and say that you're fixing the road like that. The thing is that you've got to have people who are certified to do those kinds of things. You're going to have things like bonding, your insurance, all this stuff is going to have to be in place.
Unless you happen to be the Church of Scientology. Duh.
Right. It's I find it amazing.
Right. So those are the issues that we have been taking to the public works, to the city council, to the mayor's office, to everybody we can. One, it's a PR battle. Not only are they violations of the city code, city ordinances, law, but also of the ADA, the Department of Justice ADA. You know, the planners, we did get a notice saying that they were going to, that Church of Scientology has to remove the planners. They were supposed to put notices on each planner. We haven't seen that yet. I'm pretty sure they're fighting it, or they're just ignoring the order. But that's a win. In my book, that's a win. That's
Right.
a small baby step.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And normally that's the way it should be, but I know that certain jurisdictions will allow for organizations like Scientology or like a company to pay for the repaving of a road or repair of roads. That's not uncommon, but it still has to fall under certain criteria. They have to have permitting. They have to have people who are certified to do certain things. You're going to have certain kind of equipment out there. Most states, you're going to have some kind of license or permit to operate the machinery. So, it's different in every state, but it's generally the laws are very similar in most states that I've seen. And it's just, how they're getting away with it.
Adopt a road program. You see those signs. Yeah, that means you can go and you can take care of the easements, take care of the side grass along the highway or the roadway, but that doesn't mean fix the road.
Right. So, in moving forward with what happened, now, as you said, you had Henry, and of course we know Audit LA was part of it. Did you have any other folks who were part of that as well?
There have been other people that have popped in and out. There are other people. We've had, as I said, some colorful people that have helped us. I know there was a kind of a get together the other day where Streets and Jessica and Solomon have shown up. They've shown up for like the neighborhood council meetings also. So yeah, in and out. But consistently, it's been Audit and I consistently.
Okay. And so what's the process you guys have been using? I know that you're either doing it online or in person. You're showing up to the neighborhood program, council programs, different things like that. So can you walk us through the process on how you guys are doing that?
Sure. And I think this is really educational for folks because commenting or testifying in front of a council or committee or commission can be scary, especially a council because they're so big. And there is, as I said, some colorful people, especially in LA. I've done a lot of council and commission meetings around the United States, and I think LA is probably the more colorful, and I keep saying that word because that's about the nicest word I can use, of and vocal people that I think I've ever heard. It's quite explicit in explicitives. Lots of F words and N words and C words, and
I know from watching the link that you sent me, there was some, even I was like, whoa.
Well, that's completely your call on whether we play the whole thing or not, but
we're not.
we won't. So, and we'll get up to that point, but you know what would really, really help? Put us in the mood, John Poe. Go put your robe on, your judge's robe.
Oh, okay. We'll say it now, so I don't have one of those.
Oh, you don't have your father's robe?
Let's see. No, it's actually being washed. So,
Okay,
Well,
fine. Don't put us in the middle
well,
then.
Jerry and Cheryl, I walk a fine line with those two, always worrying about getting my channel taken down because of how they act. So, there's a lot of perspiration goes
Okay.
into that. It's kind
Well,
of like having Chad here. It's a loose gun. You just don't know what's going to happen.
that's right. That's right, Bo. Anything
So,
could happen
so
unexpected.
really just, ahead of time doing your homework. What is it about? What is the purview? Are you going to the Board of Transportation? Are you going to the City Council? Are you going
right,
to the law centers? Just what do you want to talk about? What is your stance and what is your purpose? And
right,
that's when you figure out, and when is the meetings? How many levels of those meetings? Can you go to the neighborhood council, and then to the Board of Public Works? I'm just using this as an example, and then up to the city council, and then possibly even going to a state level. Right now, we're
right.
just still at the city level, and seeing how many places you can go to vent your feelings and your concerns and to get that through.
And that's as someone who has, I've had to speak at so many different public things as a law enforcement officer, and then also I was a consultant to the state on a couple of different things. It can be very, very intimidating, and even for someone like myself, all the time I spent in court as a police officer, all the times that I've given testimony in front of different kinds of commissions and things like that, it never gets easy because you never know what's going to be asked. You never know how they're going to react to what you have to say. So you have to, you're always going in there
Right.
with that uneasy feeling. The big thing is that if you have your ducks in a row, you have your I's dotted, your T's crossed, they can't trip you. People can't trip you up. You just have
Well,
to.
and the nice thing, especially like about California, California has a law that they can't interact with you. I think it's called the Brown something whatever Act.
Okay.
That when you're giving public comment or public testimony, they don't interact back with you. And that's
Oh,
why
okay.
everybody goes, well, why don't they ever say anything about? Well, they can't. And there is a way to get around that. Is you can say, do you have any questions or need clarification? They
Right.
can ask you questions if they want clarification to add to your time. I've only seen that happen twice
That's
in
good.
California. In other states, it happens more frequently.
Well, as the administrative lieutenant with the department that I first retired from, and then being chief of police, they tell you, let the folks who are getting up making the comments, things like that, let them make their comments, let them, just basically just sit there, don't respond back to it, and if they got a question and you don't have an answer right there, just basically tell them you'll get back to them as soon as you can. So I know how it is, and
Right.
when I was originally going to these meetings, I felt like I needed to respond to pretty much every comment and question. And, it was an older officer who'd been doing it for a long time at that point. They're like, no, no, just let them say what they got to say. You don't need to comment
Mm,
back. And, just do your thing. As long as you're in the right, doesn't matter what they got to say.
right.
So
And Audit has a good point. It's public comment, not public conversation. And that's the way it is there in California. So
I didn't even
you
see the response.
no, she responded it to me. We're
Oh, I see your little private
we're talking within the
conversations.
talking. That's
Well, I see.
Hey, we do this during church too. Are you kidding me?
You disrespect in church like that. Mm,
So, but you have to do, as I said, a little bit of homework when you get there. Do you
yeah.
need to just raise your hand? Do you need to put in a public comment form? Do you need to type your information into the kiosk? You need to know what's expected, sometimes even going one time to see how it works.
Mm,
Just to just to
I think
watch
I
is a
think
good
that
thing.
it's also uh I also think it's important to state that just because you're there and you put your name on a list, or you go online and you put your name in there to be on the Zoom, it doesn't guarantee that that's going to happen. they've been getting really good, and it's not just LA, it's a lot of these boards are getting very good at, we're going to set X amount of time for public comment and questions, and that's all we're going to put in there. So
Yep, they do. And you get a limited time. Sometimes when you sign up, let's say the difference between the Board of Public Works is you get 2 minutes for public comment, and then they take on each agenda item. I think you get a minute or 2 minutes on each agenda item, whatever the time frame is. When you go to the city council, you go up, you have to speak on the agenda items that you want, and then public comment, and it's all at that same time. You don't go back and forth. So you just knowing what the lay of the land is, that's all. And it makes you feel more comfortable to speak when you know the lay of the land and what's expected.
and I think that's a very important point that you made just a little bit ago about making sure that, just go and Chad, I'll respond to you in just a second here.
Okay.
But just go and check these out, whether it's online or you go in person. Look and see how these things operate, and the more that you see of it, the more comfortable you're going to be with how they do it. So it's not you don't have to be afraid. You can do this. Just make sure that if you're going to do it, you have your information, you have your research, you have what you need, and you don't have to rehearse a script or anything like that. But just make sure you stay on point, you make it concise, because you've only got so much time.
Right. And writing it down really, really helps, because I know after doing this thousands of times, I still get nervous. My voice shakes. And if I don't have it written down, I completely forget what I'm going to say. So it really helps for me to just write it down, even if it's just bullet points. But I write it out and then just read it. Of course, I'm not standing in front of them, but even if I were there, I would probably take it as a script and read it, because then you're getting to your points and what you want to say.
Right.
And I'm not there. I know, as we were talking just a little bit ago, is that there are some people, it's almost like they're trolling all of the boards and commissions and councils, and it's for shock value. I've been on the other side of these boards and commissions. I've been on plenty of them, and what I hear when I hear that is wah, 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 wah. I don't hear what they're saying. I don't hear what they're implying or what their resolution is. I just completely tune them out. So I know better. Either speak to the point, or why even bother? And it's kind of frustrating to hear those type of speakers. It can be funny. I'm going to play you one that is kind of funny that I caught Audit. I'm going to I'm going to tattle on her here in just a minute or two, but that's what I had sent you was a copy of something I'm going to tattle on Audit for. Yeah, I'm going to be a big sister. So you just read the agenda and see if the agenda items you could mesh with what your topic was on your public comment. Then you get more time if you can make it. And if not, sometimes it's just fun to be a pain in the ass, pain in the rear, pain in the keister to keep their meeting going if they're really not doing what you want. It just adds more time. And all comments, though, even the public comments, have to be within their purview of whatever board you're going to. If you're going to the police commission, you're not going to talk about agriculture stuff, because even for a public comment, they're going to cut you off.
And I just sent you a private message, Mona. And I think that I think that's very important. I think that watching how these go and how they're handled is really going to help you in the way that you speak when you're in front of these commissions. Also, watch how other people do it. The fact is, I mean, I was a little bit different when I had to be there in front of the boards and the commissions, or as a member of the boards and the commissions. I paid attention to pretty much everything that was going on, but I can understand how easily you can get basically caught up in it and just zone out from it, because sometimes folks get up there and they want to start talking about things that have nothing to do with what the commission oversees, and but they have that time and you can't stop them from doing it.
Right. Well, yeah, they will. They'll stop you. And I know we caught them muting somebody the other day.
Really?
Oh yeah. And
Wow.
Audit called him on it. And she called him out. She said, "I don't appreciate that language any more than you do, but I hope for free speech that you didn't mute them on purpose." And
Right.
on the YouTube video, it's there, but the rest of us couldn't hear it. They muted his mic
Wow.
because we couldn't hear what he was saying.
That's that's that right there. I mean, that should that in and of itself should end up with some kind of problem for them, that you're actually muting someone during public participation. That's a constitutional right. And but we see it happening so in so many boards and commissions and things like that, where they're just basically doing what they want, and they feel that they have some authority to overstep the law or overstep constitutional rights of people, and that's something else that has to be called into play on it. So
Sorry, Chad. What'd you need? Sorry, he had his hand up.
oh,
Oh,
unmute
he's
yourself.
muted.
Sorry about that. I wanted to say hello to Joey C. He just had a Poe to go on me. He's a great guy.
Oh, is that
Joey Catalano. Yep.
Okay. Hey Joey, how you doing? So, and if you haven't checked out Joey's channel, he does a lot of good stuff over there. Does a lot of the true crime stuff, a lot of law and order kind of stuff. He's got a good channel, good guy. Make sure you get over there and check him out. Joey, if you can, put the link up there in the chat for everybody to see it. So
absolutely.
So John, Mr. Poe, let's
Yes,
do
ma'am.
a mock. I'm coming to you. You're the police commission, and I'm going to come to you, and you're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance and give a little report, and then you're going to call for public comment, and can I give you a sample of a real quick comment? And
yes,
this we can use for any other, we just need to switch. So basically, I always thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm here to point out 2 systemic issues of concern for LAPD. 1, LAPD providing private security for Church of Scientology. And 2, Church of Scientology trying to pin hate crimes on the protesters. Let me set the scene. P. Diddy is having a screen showing at his house. There's a permit to close off the block and hire security for it.
acting like an actual commissioner.
Oh, yeah, that's just way too true. Is LAPD going to let their armed officers provide security for the event? No, they're not. It may not be a clear violation of your oath. Isn't it a clear violation of your oath to protect and serve? But certainly it has a negative connotation to be in front of P. Diddy's event or Church of Scientology. What? Am I comparing the Church of Scientology to P. Diddy? Yes, I am. You are saying you don't have receipts. Yes, you do. Will you listen? There should be not one officer placed there for overtime duty until these serious allegations are dealt with. Church of Scientology has enough money. Let them hire a third-party security vendor. I'll stop that real quick. That worked. We kept saying that worked. They ended up hiring a third-party security vendor. That was a big W.
Well, I mean, and that's an awesome win on that. But most of the time when you do say things like that, do you get the typical, I'll look into it and see what I can find out, or do they even?
Nope, absolutely. They don't answer at all because they're not allowed to.
Okay.
So number 2, you are being lied to from Church of Scientology. The protesters, yeah, the scary ones, those that are barbecuing, chalk writing, yelling, placing signs, etc. Many of them are survivors of exactly what P. Diddy did with all of the blessing of the Church of Scientology. Church of
Well,
Scientology is trying to pull the smoke and mirror trick
yeah.
to prove the protesters' intent is a hate crime. Nothing could be further than the truth. The people protesting are as eclectic and varied as the beliefs they believe. Those shouts should be a warning to you. There are children being abused physically, mentally, and sexually behind those blue walls. Not times past, today. Before the end of the day, there will be another child added to the list of abused. And tomorrow is Groundhog's Day. Now, a few minutes ago, you would have been labeled complicit to the crime. Now you're culpable of Scientology's crimes because you know, and you will be held accountable.
And that's
So, go ahead.
you know, and that's the thing. But I did notice, like, when Becky was in front of the police commission, the chief, or I think it was the chief, actually responded to her
He did
after
because
she
she had a claim. And
okay.
when somebody goes in front of the police commission, if they have a complaint or an issue that an officer could handle, they will pull them aside. I've seen that happen quite a few times, but they pull them out to the lobby to where an additional information could be taken. They don't converse right there.
Okay. Did you check out that private message I sent you?
I did, and I took care of the last one that you left on there.
Chad, can you check that again? Make sure.
Yes, I did.
Same thing. It doesn't show up on. It doesn't show up on my.
Yeah, because it's not in mine, and
it was in mine. I took care of it.
Okay, because I just posted again. So
then that's.
Yeah, I can't get to yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we're dealing with the.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. So, but you know, and folks, it's going to be different every state that you're in, and how that they respond to things or what they do about it. But the big thing is almost every meeting nowadays is going to be online, because after the pandemonium and everything that happened, a lot of these meetings went online, either through Zoom meetings or something else, but they're going to be on there. And oftentimes they're posted even on Facebook and other forms like that. So, you know, that's a big thing there. You can check these out. You can see for yourself how they're handled, how they do these things, and how you can prepare yourself for going in front of these boards for these meetings and presenting your cases to them.
Right.
You know, just because they're not responding at that meeting to you doesn't mean that your voice isn't being heard. As you see with Mona and with Audit, when they brought up about the third party private security, about LAPD working security for Scientology, things started happening. So it's, you know, just don't think that because you're not getting a response that nothing is happening. And
right. And for the funny part of that, let me set this up. But if you want to pull up that video to the 25 mark or the 24 whatever mark, not the 20 mark, because we want to hear all the colorful words.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to go to it, maybe we can post the link and people can go listen to it on their own.
But please be advised, there is some colorful language in there, and if you're offended by it,
no, we're not going to play the color. Yeah. Oh, yeah. In the whole one, yes. There's some
if you want to watch
definitely
it on
some
your
color.
own.
There's some C words and N words and F words and all that. But on this one, there was Braille guy, Haggis Basher. You heard him quite often. But Braille guy has come, and he has commented quite a few times that they don't provide him with the agendas in Braille. And it's frustrating. It's very frustrating. It's frustrating to hear when you see that, you know, the guy has a legit claim. Why isn't something being done? So this is where I'm tattling on Audit. Audit kind of gave him the what so. So this is what I want you to hear that Audit did.
All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pull it up now. And this is if you want to tell here, this
go
is
to the 2455.
I'm at the 2750 51 mark there.
Okay, that's good. Whatever mark I
And
told you, yeah.
this was posted 2 days ago. So on the 13th of September, this is from the LA Department of Public Works meeting.
Yes.
So who's going to be
This
speaking at
is
this point?
audit,
Okay.
and she's she is commenting on the agenda about extending the contract for the some company to do work down at the canals.
Okay.
And so she's using the work down at the canals to further the Braille guys issue.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, here we go.
Is that it?
That was our public comment in person for item 1. We have 2 more on the Zoom, so we'll go ahead
Okay, go right ahead.
and
please.
take those. Caller on the Zoom, Audit LA, you'll have 2 minutes for item number 1.
Yes,
I'm
first point of
laughing.
clarification. I hope we weren't muted to suppress free speech. As much as I'm repulsed by the speech, I hate it. I am a proponent of free speech, and you don't have a right to press the mute button. That being said, on this agenda item, I am going to ask that you be mindful, which is asking a lot because you guys have not been mindful so far about the ADA community when it comes to the canals. I am requesting that everything be made ADA compliant, and I'm going to ask a special request that you put all signage in Braille. There's every sign, by the canals, if there's any kind of anything for the public, I'm going to ask that you put it in Braille. I am not going to forget our visually impaired ADA brothers and sisters. So I'm going to ask you again, put it in Braille. On the and on this agenda item, on this project, I want Braille all over the place. I want every sign in Braille, and I want every sign in Braille. Okay, and I want it in Braille. I want it in Braille. I want signs in Braille. Okay, put the signs in Braille, please. You can tell me when my 2 minutes is up. I want it in Braille.
This
I
is for
want
the
it in Braille.
landscape, Mariposa landscape.
Yes, I want all the landscaping. I
Please
want
stick
all
to the item at hand.
borders in
I love how she's like, just tell me when I can stop. I'm going to keep saying Braille until you do.
And you can stop it. You can stop it because
Okay.
it just goes. It's just. I thought that was funnier than hell. I was almost peeing myself, laughing so hard at her. She just went. Look, you're not going to do this to people. I'm
Yeah.
tired of it, and just kind of went off the rails. It was funny.
Well, the
I
great
thought it
thing
was
is, here it is. She is someone who has been suffering at the lack of ADA compliancy, but she realizes that she's not the only one. And she's pointing out how they are failing to support others who should be receiving ADA compliance. And I think it's awesome.
Now, if she would have went as far as to say the parking signs needed to be in Braille, I would have died.
Audit. Next time, make sure you put the parking signs and the speed limit signs in Braille as well. So
It's true though; they should be in Braille.
but I mean, think about it. The crosswalk machines now make noises.
They're supposed to.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're supposed to.
Yeah.
That kind of surprises me, her saying yes, sir. She ain't backing down for nobody. But the thing is that there are so many things, and cities are not immune to ADA compliancy. You know that for a fact. You were on part of the ADA commissions, weren't you?
I was, yes.
So they're not immune from that. And the fact that they just seem to do as they want and keep getting away with it, it is quite crazy to me.
Well, the problem is there's no punitive damages for ADA violations, even federal ADA violations. So if if you break a leg or if something were to happen to your chair and it gets broke, they'd have to pay that back under a suit or or an arbitration, but there's no punitive, so there's no pain and suffering to go with any of those claims. So they
And
know that there's
yeah,
not a lot of teeth to it.
and absolutely, Jason's got a good point. You drive up to any ATM, it has Braille on the keys there.
That's
So
kind of it's because you have walk-up people that can
yeah,
use ATMs.
but I mean, that's the thing is that they can do it for that. Why can't they do it for other things? The whole point of it is to bring someone who would need ADA compliance in their life, bring the world about so that they don't feel like they're obsolete or that they're an unrecognized person. It's about making things capable for those who need the ADA compliance.
Exactly. Because I know that L. Ron Hubbard, his policy states that they'd rather see you dead than incapable. But you know what? If you level the playing field, you're not incapable anymore.
Absolutely. And that's the thing is, I mean, just because there just because you're someone who needs ADA compliancy doesn't mean you don't have value. Doesn't mean you don't have a place in this world. I know under Elron's theory, yeah, that's how they look at it. But I mean, I grew up with I was born in the 1960s. I grew up with an uncle who'd been deaf his entire life. And the thing is that he's, I never looked at him as having a disability. That's just who he is. And he had a great life. He's still alive. And he's retired now, retired out as the head of maintenance for a school system. And he never allowed that to be the presiding factor of who he was. And it was awesome to see the school system come around and say, you know what, we're going to do what we got to do to make sure that he feels like he has a place here. And
Right.
by doing that, they made him excel in what he did. And I think that it was the whole point of him knowing that he wasn't being looked at as someone with a disability, but as a human being. That charged his batteries so much and made him want to succeed. And I think that why can't that be for anyone who needs ADA compliancy?
So we have a call out. Audit has a call out for Tuesday morning that there is a call to action for the fire commission is finally having their meeting 9 o'clock Tuesday morning.
Really?
And it's on her community page. And you can call in to listen, but I don't think they're going to have a call in for public comment. But
Wow.
you can write public comments and they'll take public comment until tomorrow, 5 o'clock Pacific time. And, or you can attend the meeting in person if you happen to be there in person.
Yeah.
Okay, Audit. You're going to be up at 9 o'clock in the morning. Okay.
Well, and if she keeps going at it like that, they're going to have a TRO on her pretty soon. So, yeah.
Well, we've found out information from them. From the fire people are just as confused and aggravated about not having a fire lane as we are. The fire people are. So where's this all coming from?
I think this is a great statement from Tennessee Treasure Finder. I think the council should be required to navigate LA with a mock disability for a day, just so they can experience it. Walk a mile in someone's shoes.
To start.
Yeah, that's disability training that's one of the disability trainings. The one that I did with Selfless and Eric Rader one day. It's a disability training that I've done quite a bit. In fact, it's great with police officers and politicians. I'm going to give you 4 different disabilities: blind, deaf, mental disability,
Chad.
paralyzed.
True.
If you have to be one of those, pick one. Sir, you and Chad, if you have to be one of those, pick one.
4 bad options there.
I think I would go with deafness.
So if you had to be one, you would be deaf.
Yeah.
And you, Chad?
What were they again?
Deaf, blind, mental illness, paralyzed.
Ooh. I guess I'd go with deaf too.
Okay. If one of them you wouldn't want to be, which one would you pick?
Blind.
Probably
The
paralyzed.
ability not to see my wife or my children would be
Yeah.
crushing.
And I apologize for me kind of going over. My biscuits are hurting.
That's all right.
So what we feel, what we choose, how we treat other people mostly is based on what we know, or you don't know.
It's our perception.
It's all perception. And if I were blind is what I would never want to be either, only because I wouldn't want to not see. But some people are labeled blind and they can still see. It's just there's
It's a spectrum in and of
spectrum.
itself. I have a cousin.
And of every single one of those. So some people, I know quadriplegics that walk, that are
Really?
paralyzed, that can walk. Yeah. But
Huh.
they're just technically considered a quadriplegic. So there's spectrums of all of those things, and how you treat other people is based on fears of what you know or don't know.
Yeah.
And
And
that's, it's a truth.
like I was, and to back what you're saying about I have a cousin who is legally blind, and he has extreme nearsightedness. It's a genetic condition. And literally for him to be able to read, he has these very thick glasses and everything like that. And he literally has to read like that. But this is a person who not only has lived a very full life, but he's also been the owner of his own company, and he's never let that hold him back. And, like you said, there are different degrees of disabilities that are out there.
Sure.
Just because you say blind doesn't mean that the person is completely blind. Just because you say deaf doesn't mean they're completely deaf or
And
paralyzed.
mental illness could be a birth defect cognitive disease or cognitive impairment, all the way up to psychopaths.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of different levels of mental illness. So how we treat, especially police officers, honestly, when you think of it, that's how you treat people, by what you know or don't know and what you fear. And that's life in general, but that's really a truth for officers.
I also think that our personal experiences play a lot into it as well. Having an uncle who was deaf from birth, having a cousin who was legally blind from birth, having a child that's on the spectrum has made me be more empathetic and more understanding and more caring for those who would be considered as someone with a disability. And but not everybody sees that in their lives. So people have to be, just as much as we're expected to be able to be empathetic and be compassionate, we also have to give people the ability to discover things and learn that empathy, learn how to be caring and treat people the proper way. I mean, if you've never experienced it and you've never been taught it, then how do you know how to act or how to treat someone? So
that's true. And I didn't mean to get us veered off from the conversation.
You did too. You always do this to me, and that's your.
I know. It's all educational though, and it's
It's amazing the work you're doing, Mona. Thank you.
Well, I think the thing is that this is, we're here for one purpose, but along with that, and it's in the wheelhouse of a lot of the content I've been trying to put out there, is about just as much about educating people on how to take the fight to Scientology, and how that we don't have to just do it a certain way. We can find different avenues to approach that fight and bring the fight to them. And, so yeah, we might have veered off, somewhat from what the original topic was, but we're still staying in track with how things have been on this channel and things that we've done in the past.
Oh, sure.
Every
And it
bit of
is,
knowledge is a tool. So
it is, what we bring to the table, each of us individually through our perception. I mean,
Yeah.
whether we perceive religion, whether we perceive there's a God, whether we perceive there isn't a God. I mean, we have all sorts of
Right.
us in here. We all have different ideas and the way we grew up and what we perceive things as.
Yeah.
And the difference you could substitute Catholic, Protestant, Scientologist, Buddhist for those
Gerontologist.
difference. Well, you know what I mean? I mean, you
Yep.
can put those things in there. It's
Yep.
whatever glasses you have on is how your perception is.
Yeah. And Miss Kim, yes, proactive is an awesome way to think about it, but we're talking. I mean, think about how many people sitting that are listening to this and heard Mona talk about people who are considered paralyzed but can walk. Those are all things that if you've never seen or had to experience that, how it's kind of hard to be proactive to it. It's like my cousin. If you saw him, you would think there's nothing wrong with him, but he literally can't. Everything beyond a certain point is all blur to him. That's why he is
Right.
considered legally blind. If you met my uncle, he can read lips and he can actually follow along with conversations. It's not until you hear him speak that you realize there's hearing problems there. And he's been deaf since birth, and so, and I agree, be proactive as much as you can, but not everybody has those kinds of experiences in their life that would make them be able to be empathetic and compassionate about things. And I agree with your statement. I'm not coming at you, but I'm just trying to explain from a different point of view on things there. So
I mean, Audit and I kind of have a joke about it would be funnier than hell to get arrested down there protesting on Big Blue. I think that would be funny. I would, if I lived there, I would do it just to see what they would do. Come arrest me. Come on, get a accessible van and bring it.
I've done it. So, well, that's something that we've had to do. I've had to do in my career as a law enforcement officer, and believe me, it's not as hard as they think it is. We had a gentleman who was he was an amputee at the knee on both legs, and he was wheelchair bound for quite a while. And he was one of those very heavy into narcotic use. He was always in fights and bars and things like that. And his thing was, what are you going to do, arrest me? Oh yeah. He ended up going to jail. So
that was the scrapper, right? He took the transformer.
Yep.
I love that story.
The one I caught driving that one night.
Yep.
So yeah, it was he was an interesting one. So you formulated how to how you're going to do things and how you're going to approach these commissions and how you're going to talk to them. You got everything laid out, and you start going to these meetings. What was how did the big win come about that we're talking about today?
Slowly but surely, but
Right.
the win that we're talking about with the planners specifically came about because Audit was there in person. I believe she was going to a safety committee meeting, or her and Bike Guy were down there at the city hall.
Okay.
And the one of the Krikorian, she can text me his real name, one of the representatives, the head of it, was walking by, and it happens to be her representative for her area. And she said, hey, come here, I have something to talk to you about. And he said, go up and talk to my aide, my staffer. And so she did, and got the ball rolling even more. But it's that one-on-one, getting to know people, having a relationship, and starting the communication, because that's what happens is you start getting to be you start having that relationship and getting them knowing you and you knowing them.
Right. And that's I think that, you know, that's also another point is don't expect us to show up one time and expect things to happen. You know, if it does, awesome. You've beat the curve. But otherwise, you know, be prepared for the fact you're going to have to go to multiple meetings. You're going to have to speak several times. You may have to present information through emails, through letters, through things like that. It's just like the fight against Scientology itself. Sometimes it's going to be a marathon rather than a sprint. You just have to be prepared for it. And Ms. Kim, thank you for clarifying that. And I apologize if I took it the wrong way, but Ms. Kim's saying I meant learning from these videos. The knowledge is helping us learn how to be proactive against Scientology. Thank you so very much. Let's see. I would play dead and have fun dragging me. I just get some pipe vendors over. We just pick you up and carry you. So if
I always try to picture that. I always try to picture that when you said about the guy that has the one arm and he's disabled. Yeah, that was funny. Transformers spiking in the
Yeah, I have no bladder or bowel control. Don't get me all nervous. Something's gonna happen in the back seat of your car. So don't put me in the back seat of your car.
I'm not putting you in the back seat of the car. I'm not going to take a chance of injuring you for something like that.
You made the rookie do it.
Well, he was different. He was much more mobile than he led on to be. And Becky, why are they going to arrest him for driving on a closed street? That's what the idiot told Audit, that her scooter was a motor vehicle. And in actuality, if you're using it on a roadway, it can be considered a motor vehicle if it's motorized.
The person was traveling in their vessel.
How do you think here in Michigan that the people get arrested on their riding mowers for DUI?
Not if you have a disability. Nope. It's not considered a motor vehicle. Even an ATV. If I, as a person with a disability, little bit of disability information here, if I wanted to go on a federal or a state trail that's only open to walking, I could take an ATV.
Well, I would not be understand that.
Yeah.
But if you get into your van and you drive down the road, that's a motor vehicle, even though you have a disability.
Yes.
So that's why that's where I think it would be kind of a gray area on that, because if you're taking, say, a Rascal mobility scooter, and you take that onto a roadway and you're traversing down the roadway, that could,
first of all, you're not supposed to be on a roadway with those.
Yeah, not supposed to, and people doing it's two different things. I mean, have you ever seen that video of the very how should I say, large women from down south who decided they wanted to make a run for beer for the night, and the one got on the riding mower and pulled one of those kids' red wagon trailers behind it, with the other one sitting in the back.
So if a road is closed to all vehicles except pedestrians, and that's how you walk, is yeah, that's right, and that's how you walk is with your scooter or with your motorized wheelchair, you're a pedestrian.
There you go. And I mean, here's the thing, especially in that one where the sidewalk is not accessible. How the hell else are you supposed to get down that road, get down that area? If you can't get on the sidewalk because they got them stupid planters out there, they got the netting out there, they're doing everything that they can, bags of cement and all that, the thing is that they, how else are you supposed to get around? What happens if her battery dies on the mobility scooter or on a motorized chair?
I laugh every time she goes down there to Blue, and one of the security officers is like, "Go on, keep going. You have to keep moving." And she's like, "I am moving," and she puts it in slow mode. It's just like,
YRB.
I am moving.
Yeah. YRB, first response. What about Teslas? What about Ford Lightnings? They're electric rather than gas. Number two, the weight is irrelevant in most state laws. It's whether or not it is motorized, and it doesn't mean whether it's motorized by gas or electricity. It's motorization that compels it down the road rather than by personal power. Third, ADA accommodation. If you don't know what's going on when you pull the person over, how do you know? So I agree that, you know, that would be the common sense thing on it. But just like with Mona explaining how if that's her only means of transportation is that mobility scooter and it's a replacement for her being able to walk, then
If
that's
I'm doing
ADA.
50 mile an hour in a school zone that's rated for 15 mile an hour, then, you know, that's still a violation of the law. It doesn't matter if it's an accommodation or not. It's still against the law.
That's a one heck of a mobility scooter if you're doing 50.
Yeah.
It was just an example.
I'm playing. Relax. Is that true? California no longer has jaywalking laws?
No.
Wow.
Wow.
That's something else. All right. So we know how you did it. We know that it was a process. It didn't happen overnight. So how did it come down to what was the actual decision that was made to tell Scientology they had to take the planners out?
When she met with the staffers of Hugo Pseudo Martinez, I guess is the gentleman's name, the representative for District 13.
Awesome.
I'm told in my ear, is that they are the ones that made the decision or decided to make that decision. And so the staffer told her that that's what was happening.
That's awesome. You know, and that just shows continuing to plug away, continuing to make those connections. That's how important all this is. Getting out there and getting folks to know who you are sometimes will get a door open for you quicker than anything else. And
Reverse safe pointing.
yeah, exactly. And everybody make sure you say howdy to Jeffrey Augustine, the Scientology Money Project. You know, the two people that I think are the best in the world when it comes to research against Scientology is Mona, who's there on the screen right now, and Jeffrey Augustine. These two people are so they're so valuable to this fight.
That's true.
And
That's true.
you know, I appreciate it. And YRB, I don't know California laws. I go by what I know. All right. I don't know what California laws are. So
Jeffrey, are you going to go ahead and pimp me up a motor scooter that does 105? Thank you for that.
I think he needs to get you the
That made me
battery
laugh.
and the motors out of a Tesla and put them into a mobility scooter for you. See how that bad boy goes.
Sounds good.
There you go. And I think Haggish Basher's got a good point here. The problem has been is that, well, there have been challenged publicly. But the problem is that the courts have always jumped on the side of it's a religion and there's nothing we can do about it. Now all that's starting to change. And he's going to get you a big block 427 for it.
Well, what we tell them, we remind them almost every single week, well, either her or I put this in there. You know how to get rid of us.
Yeah.
Obey the law. If you start obeying the law and enforcing the law correctly, we'd go away.
Yeah. If they would just do their job and start holding Scientology accountable for the things that they're doing that are in violation, or the things that the city of LA are doing in violation, we wouldn't even be here. But
I'd go home. You wouldn't have to bother with me.
It takes you, it takes Audit LA, it takes Jeffrey Augustine, it takes Streets, it takes Henry, it takes so many people pointing out to them that they are violating the laws, that they are violating ADA. There's so many things that are happening out there they need to be held accountable for. And until you guys started jumping in there and doing it, there was nobody really making any ground on it. I think you guys are doing things that no one even thought could happen or even thought about doing. Jeffrey, my goodness.
Well, how about just the city obeying the law? If
Yeah.
the city obeys the law, that's half the problem.
That'd be a good start.
Yep.
If they
And then
just did what they're supposed
we
to
need
do.
to hammer Chicago. We need to hammer Utah. We need to hammer Austin. Clearwater is a whole different ball of wax.
Lord have mercy.
It's its
Believe
own
me.
little world down there.
How about how about Battle Creek with the Hart building that has been sitting there in complete repair with parts of the front fascia of the building literally coming off of it. Talk about a danger, and that's just a small city. Then you start getting into the bigger cities like you've been talking about, Chicago, LA, Clearwater, all these bigger cities. It's a complete pattern of how these things are done. They skirt the law one way, they skirt it another, they safe point politicians, members of the bureaucracy, and they continue to get away with things. But now they're finally starting to be held accountable. And yeah, Haggis Basher, Chicago, big time. I mean, if you look at what Windy City Thetan Watch, Paul, what happened with him? The fact that you had an officer literally coaching someone in how to file a police report against him, and then tell him they don't have to give him the police report number. Have a sergeant sit there and run safe watch for that officer.
I thought LA was bad. Chicago is unhinged.
Well,
Unhinged.
The scope of the problems in Chicago have been way back even into the days of Prohibition. There has been so much corruption that has been proven in Chicago that, it seems like it's business as usual there. So that's what gets me is people are so used to Chicago politicians or Illinois politicians being corrupt that people don't even think about it as, they're just like, yeah, another one got caught. Okay. They don't seem to even care. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, Haggis Basher. One of the big problems is especially in your larger departments is they will circle the wagons and pull the ranks very quickly to protect someone. But you're talking about an officer who already has a disciplinary problem, was in trouble for discharging their department weapon while putting it in their belt, while putting their belt on and roll call. I mean, if that doesn't tell you there's a problem, I don't know what does. So
pretty bad.
And if anybody is interested, every once in a while I'll throw my comments up on my community wall. But if you're interested or if you want me to, just let me know. I'll put my public comments, because I always write them down, of what I say. So that way you can either reuse the words or look at the verbiage and see what fits for your area.
Oh, nice. Oh, check out Joey's comment there.
I did.
Okay.
And Joey, the offer's still out there. I'd love to get you on or possibly do a dual live stream and talk about some of this stuff. And Joey's comment is, I was born and raised in Chicago. I got some great story on the government there. My whole family were CPD. That's just wow.
Yep.
That's so how long does Scientology have before these planners have to come down?
That we don't know.
Okay.
We don't know. We weren't given the timeline. Who knows? But we just keep saying it, huh?
Have they even posted on them yet?
No, we haven't seen it posted. As of yesterday, I haven't looked today. I haven't seen anybody.
Audit? Do you know?
She's not on. She left. She's not on.
Oh, she's just too good to stay here with us, huh?
She said goodbye. She said goodbye to everybody. So, we don't know, but we know the conversation. We know darn well somebody called and said, hey, you need to move the planners. They need to be off the streets. And look at how long Scientology did for 23 years by not paying taxes. They're just disobeying. So they'll give them, I'm sure, probably a month or so, however long, and then they'll move them and they'll just bill them.
And explain to Haggis Basher how much fun it is trying to FOIA anything from LA.
It is hard. I mean, it's easy to do. The process is very easy, but basically, and I haven't been doing it. Audit's been doing it because that's her bailiwick. And whenever she says, if you don't send me the information, I'm just going to have to sue you. All of a sudden, her FOIAs get, filled
Really?
the next day. Yeah. So she has to physically say stuff.
Wow. Yeah, but think about how many people just get the runaround.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can go on their site and type into their CPRA site. And Jeffrey probably, I'm sure, has that site. I don't have it tagged. But you just go on there and you can type in Church of Scientology, and it'll pop up all the different FOIA requests that's already been done.
Yeah.
And you can see, and you can also see all the call outs for an address. So it's pretty cool.
Haggis, yes, there are federal laws pertaining to FOIAs. There are requirements and guidelines. The problem is that if the federal government's not going to do anything about it, it pretty much is a moot point, because you look at the fact of ADA compliancy and the refusal to be compliant with ADA laws. If the federal government's not going to step in, the state's
there has
not
to
gonna
be
step in.
teeth.
Yeah.
The people have to be the teeth sometimes.
And I was going to say, it's pretty much a toothless tiger at that point.
Yeah, the squeaky wheel gets. So you have to learn to stand up for what you want.
Yeah, and
no notice. Thank you.
Thank you, YRB. The thing is that it's amazing to me how these things happen and how they just seem to basically just nod at you and just ignore what you're saying, just do their own thing and don't care. I think that something that has hurt on the ADA line is having the groups of attorneys that are just going out and filing ADA lawsuits against businesses all over the country.
That's why it went to no punitive, is because of that. And it did hurt it. But I think it goes all the way up to the mayor, if not even further above that.
Absolutely. I agree. Well, we already know that Mayor Bass has been on the side of Scientology, has spoken at Scientology events praising how great Scientology is. It wasn't until these things were pointed out during the campaign that suddenly Mayor Bass had a reversal of her thoughts and who she supported and things. But does that mean that she's actually turned her back on Scientology?
Yeah, who knows? Especially after the Olympics, where they're chumming up with OTC.
Yeah.
At the Olympics. Yep.
Jeffrey's got a great point there. Governments rely on people just giving up. They make it hard enough for you. They finally just go, you can't fight City Hall, and you move on. It's when you have someone like you, like Audit, like Jeffrey, who don't just give up and walk away, that suddenly things start happening. And that's that's how this has to be, folks. You have to remember, like we were saying earlier, this is a marathon, not a sprint. It's not going to happen. If it does happen, amazing, but it's generally not going to happen the first time you show up at a public meeting or a commission meeting. So
kind of like a big old knot or a hair knot. You have to find out where that knot is and then start peeling stuff off.
Yeah. I have that problem all the time. So
yeah, right. I'm sure you get fishing knots, but you have to find out where it is, and you have to start untangling it little by little.
You're a pro angler like me. You don't never get knots in your fishing line. So.
Okay.
I know I'm playing. I'm constantly having to. Roscoe tears rope toys apart like they're made out of chewing gum. So I'm constantly having to retie those things. So believe me. And Becky, I know you had a Karen Bass for mayor sign in your yard. Don't be sitting there trying to play that game with us.
Well, she's gonna come shoot you.
Those
are fighting words.
Hot grease. Let's see. Pro tip: wearing rich masculine corduroy into a public meeting sends a message of power. Okay, I don't know about that. Let's see. People should rise up. People power has overthrown government. Well, it's just the general. We're not going to put up with it anymore. And the fact that you're not going to stand there and you're not going to be led around by bureaucrats using red tape and mountains of rules and procedure and things like that. That's how you start making them comply to you. It's not a matter of you complying to their will. They work for you, and refusing to allow them to play those games with you, that's how you start making a difference in how these cities and states and the local governments make a change in how they operate. And you've just got to keep plugging away at it and be persistent in what you're doing, and make sure that you cross your T's and dot your I's.
That's all you can do. That's all you can do.
Absolutely. You come in with knowledge is power, folks. We've talked about this many, many, many times, that knowing the answers that you're already asking 9 times out of 10 is so shocking to people, especially in government, because they think and I'm telling you from a point of view of someone who has worked with bureaucrats the majority of my life, a lot of them think that they know more than the people they're serving. And when they get called out as being wrong, they don't take it very well. So make sure you know what you're doing when you go into these things. It's okay going in and asking the questions and not knowing the answers before you ask it. But the thing is that the more knowledge you have, the more powerful you become. So, Mona, would you like to come back and let's do a live about preparing for one of these?
Absolutely. And I did just send you an email about the call to action that Audit just sent me on her way out. Okay. That if you could put a link up to that in the explanation of your.
I've got to let's see, did she send the actual link to it? I got the attachment there. I'll have to figure out a way to get that over so I can put it into the community section.
It's a PDF. So
does she have it on her community page?
She does.
Okay, that's gonna be a lot easier. I can put the link right in there for that. Let's see here.
And that's for the fire department, the fire commission's meeting.
I'm trying to figure out which one it is. Oh, there we go. Call to action. Excellent. Let me share this. Oh, come on. I'll just put her community tab in there. It's a little ways down in the community tab, like 4 or 5 posts down, but make sure you get over there and you take a look at it.
Okay. And I owe Jeff a phone call because I really want his help on the Dream Exchange.
Yeah, but he expects so much money for everything. No, Jeffrey's awesome. He
I think there's probably ties into Gentili and this 9/11 chargeback stuff that's been going on that he's been talking about. Oh yeah, it's a big United States, but it's such a small world.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's just so amazing.
It's ridiculous. Jeffrey, are you going live tonight? If you are, can you put your link in there so we can make sure everybody gets over there? Folks, Jeffrey puts out some amazing information, and he puts out basically they're tutorials. And, just like with Mona's channel, and the link to Mona's channel is in my description for tonight's show. These two folks are dynamos when it comes to this stuff, and I have no problem whatsoever taking the bow and saying that they are far beyond me when it comes to intelligence and the ability to research things. They're amazing, and so make sure you get over there and you check their channels out. And Jeffrey, put your link in for your channel anyway so everybody can get that, or one of my mods if you can put that up there. So Mona, we'll get together and we'll set things up and we'll do a stream about approaching the public commissions and things like that. I think this has been very informative. It's been something that, you know, this is the win that we in the anti-Scientology community have been needing. Oh,
wow.
Grant, your buddy, Chad, your buddy, he got hit with a civil RICO lawsuit. I had heard something about that was coming down. I didn't know if they'd actually done it or not. That's awesome.
He's
That
denying
was-
it.
So,
Yep.
Chad, you got any closing thoughts for us tonight?
Oh, I just
Okay,
I
thank you.
admire the work. I admire the work that Mona's doing. I think it's great, and that's about it, Paul.
Thank you,
There
Chad.
go. Mona, what are your thoughts?
It's a team effort, you guys. You know, in here I've got my twinsy Mona, and we laugh about that, but you know, it's fun having people to talk with and to chat with and to rely on. Audit is a wonderful bestie. We talk a lot. We can rely on each other. And you, John, and Chad, I mean, it's just we're a team. We're all a team. We're not a group. This is an incredible open crowdsource forum, and it's been wonderful. It's really nice to have us all together.
What are your thoughts on this about paying for the sidewalks destroyed with the planners? Who's going to pay for it?
Scientology will have to pay for it, I'm sure.
That'd be great to see if they actually get held to it. Whoa. Gary Cardone and his ex face up to $210 million in damages in the civil RICO.
Wow.
Wow. And Jeffrey agrees Scientology can be fined for the damage.
Yeah.
That's if LA will live up to it. But that's all in part of holding their feet to the fire. The city of LA. You know, and I use a lot of acronyms. I use a lot of ways of talking about things, folks, but it's simply just to drive the point home. When I say hold their feet to the fire, that's, you know, an old thing that happened back in the Wild West and things like that, even before that. But the fact is that unless we hold these governmental agencies responsible for the things that they are doing, they're never going to change. We have to make sure we certainly can, if that's what you want, Miss Sunrise Dawn. I hadn't even taken a look. Give me 1 second here.
Yep. Well, remember, you know, change in a corporation, in a family, in a person, change doesn't happen psychologically unless you want to or are forced to.
And it's even slower when it comes to government. Because government change is like, I don't know the best way to describe it. To government, if you try to bring about change, then you're trying to end people's careers as the way they look at it, instead of looking at it and from the standpoint of this can help the people we're supposed to be serving. So,
yeah, it's definitely devastating to those that are in office because they don't like change. They like to keep their seat warm until it's time to say heidi ho and leave you, and they collect their retirement.
Absolutely.
That's just the way it goes.
So, folks, I put the link in there for Hey Carrie Ann's live stream that's going on right now. If you want to jump over, you don't have to stay for the entire live stream, or you can if you want to. Just, you know, jump in, say hi, and hit that like button, show some support. You know, Scooter Mom and I were talking about this the other day. It is very important that we show support for the smaller channels, the channels that are less than 1,000 subscribers. It's very important that we do that because we need to act as a community, and by supporting everyone from the top to the bottom is how we show ourselves as a community. And
Absolutely.
And I further take it, I think that sometimes we're more like a family than we are a community, because there's going to be squabbles within the family. We get over it and we get beyond that. The big thing is that we focus on what is best for the family. And for us, that's taking down Scientology, and that's putting the spanking to Wavy Davy and his fake space Navy. And
right.
Folks, I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Your time is invaluable. There is no way that you'll ever get it back. It's the one thing that once you spend it, you can't get it back. Hopefully you found usefulness in tonight's live stream, as I try to make sure with every one of them. I appreciate you all so much. I thank you for your support. I thank you for supporting the other channels. And as always, life is short. You get one shot. Make it count.